So you're thinking about moving to San Antonio, Texas, but there's one thing that's been weighing in the back of your mind that just won't stop nagging you, and that is property taxes. Now, that is the number one thing that we hear and get asked questions on every single day. Everybody tells us they've heard so many horrible things about Texas's property taxes, especially from clients that are moving here from California, New York, Illinois, Washington State, and even the DC area. So in this video, we're gonna be comparing Texas and specifically San Antonio, Texas's taxes compared to where you live. And we're also going to break down different price points so you can see how the taxes are affected on different price points that will impact your budget for the type of home that you're interested in purchasing. Now, in this video, we're going to be specifically comparing California to Texas because that seems to be a large portion of our audience, and the most of our clients that are moving here are actually relocating from California. We're going to get after it right now. If this is your first time to our channel and you would like to know everything there is to know about living in San Antonio and its surrounding areas, make sure you subscribe or tap the bell for notifications to ensure that you're one of the first to be notified when we bring you new market updates. My name is Katie Powers, and my husband Steven Garza and I get phone calls and emails from people just like you every single day who are looking to relocate into Texas, but also are looking to buy or sell property right here in San Antonio, Texas and its surrounding areas. Whether you're 6 days or 6 months away from making that move, we would absolutely love to hear from you. All of our information is listed right below in the description box. Steve and I would be honored to be your realtors of choice and help you make that smooth transition into the area. Now let's jump in to the property taxes of Texas versus California. Now first, let me put all these disclaimers out here because I don't want any comments telling me that I'm a CPA. I am not a CPA. I do not work for or am endorsed by the IRS. I do not work for the state of Texas or any of the appraisal districts in Texas or California. I'm just a real estate agent. Now, I've done a lot of research and a lot of cross-referencing to make sure that the numbers I'm bringing you are as accurate as they can be. But really, this video is just about giving you an idea of the differences between Texas and California. I am not a CPA, and you should definitely reach out to your tax professional before purchasing a home in any other state to ensure that you don't get hit with extra tax liabilities. Okay, so with all of those disclaimers being said, let's dive in to my examples. All right, so like I said, we're going to be breaking this down into different price points of homes. That way you can really see where the savings are, where you are at. So our first example is $400,000. Now here in San Antonio, Texas, that's really pretty close to the average sales price that we see. Here in San Antonio, the median sales price is $375,000. So $400,000, there are a ton of homes on the market in this price point. So this is a great prime example for you for San Antonio, Texas. Now in California, it does look like your property tax rate is right around 1%. It can go up to 2%. And from what I understand, it's capped at 2%. So you can never pay more than 2% in property taxes. But for the sake of this video, we're doing averages. So in California, you could have a 0.09, you could have a 1%, you could have a 1.3. For this video, we're sticking to a 1.115. That's a really clean average for California property taxes. So at a $400,000 home value, Your property taxes in California are $4,460. Now in California, you have a state income tax of 9.3% if you are making the range $58,000 to right around $300,000. So your income, your state income tax is right around $8,370, bringing your grand total to $12,830 for your total tax liability, right? In Texas, you do have an average of a 2.5% property tax rating. Now, in San Antonio and the surrounding areas, there are different percentages. You can be as low as 1.6, or you can be as high as 2.7. It's very rare that you see a property tax percentage over 2.7. I'm not saying there isn't some, but it's very, very rare. So you can always go to BCAD, which is bcad.org. It's for Bexar County Appraisal District. BCAD, if you find an address or an area you like, you can type it in and you can see exactly what the tax percentage, the property tax percentage is for that area. We're going to use a 2.5. That's a pretty solid average. Most of San Antonio is between 2.3 and 2.7. So 2.5 is just a perfect example. All right. So in property taxes of a $4,000 home is $10,000. Texas does not have state income tax. It's just property tax. So your total tax liability is $10,000. Now let me let you in on a little secret. I have heard from a lot of Californians, and I say this with as much love because my family is from California, and I love you. If you're watching, I love you. I am not shaming California. It is an absolutely gorgeous state. And every time I go and visit my family, I question why I live in Texas, especially in San Diego. The weather is just amazing, right? Year round, 75 degrees, it's beautiful. So I'm a Navy brat. I spent a lot of time in California in my childhood. I've lived in California. So in no way, shape, or form is this video shaming California. I am just giving you facts here, okay? So there is no state income tax, but also what I hear a lot of from my California clients is you've never heard of a homestead exemption. California doesn't have it. There's a lot of states that don't have it. Don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty positive Florida and Texas are some of the few states that have these exemptions. So in the state of Texas, we passed a law in 2023. So starting this year in 2024, there is a new law in place for the homestead exemption. We moved the exemption, meaning if you are a resident in the state of Texas, meaning you buy a house and you reside in it, it is not a rental property, it is a property that you reside in, you can get a state exemption. It's called a homestead exemption. Last year, you could get up to $40,000 off your value of your home. Now, since the new law passed, very grateful for all of our Texans that went out and voted, we are now getting $100,000 up to $100,000 off of value. So in the state of Texas, you get a letter once a year, usually comes right around March time, and it is not a bill. Says it everywhere, not a bill, but it's letting you know what your tax assessment is for your home. You have your value, your tax value, and then you have your tax assessed value. Your tax value in this example would be $400,000. Your tax assessed value, because you have the homestead exemption, would give you a value of $300,000. So you are only taxed the 2.5% on the exemption on your tax assessed value, which would be $300,000, meaning you would actually only need to pay $7,500 in taxes, not $10,000. So you are saving, if you get your homestead exemption on there, you're saving $5,330 a year in taxes from California to Texas. Something to think about, right? Okay, so let's jump into the next price point. $600,000. Now, $600,000 price point, we're using the same percentages for taxes. And for California, the reason why this is here, which I didn't go over in the first, but let me explain this. For a $600,000 price point, we see the average household income being $150,000 to purchase a $600,000. Now, could you make more? Yes. But for the sake of this example, you make right around $150,000 is the average in income, whether it's to, a single income or dual income. It's right around 150 is what we're seeing to be pre-approved or purchasing at a $600,000 price point. So in California state income taxes, it's the same from $58,000 to right under $300,000. So if you're making $150,000, you're paying in just under $14,000 in income state tax, bringing your total tax liability to $20,640. Now here in Texas, yes, $15,000 for property taxes is outrageous. I'm not going to dispute it. But when you take into account that you don't have state income tax, you're still saving money because you don't have that bill at all. So your total is $15,000. Then we throw in the exemption where you get a whole $100,000 off. Your total tax out of pocket for being in Texas is $12,500. And then obviously that gives you over $8,000 in savings per year. I don't know about you, but I could take a really nice European vacation for $8,000. So I love savings. This is a really great example. One thing I also want to point out is just because the city, county gives you a value doesn't mean you have to accept that value. We protest our taxes every single year. I've heard a lot of people saying they protest them once every 3 years. I don't. I protest my taxes every year. So even though they tell me my home is worth $600,000 and I get my homestead exemption of $500,000, I can fight that down to be as low as, it really just depends what you're fighting and how you lay out your protest. But I have gotten my taxes down another $100,000. So I could have my $600,000 home and I could have the exemption down to $400,000 where I'm only paying taxes on $400,000. So you really have a good opportunity to protest your taxes every single year. And your tax rate stays the same, but your assessed value can change. So overall, at a $600,000, you're saving over $8,000 per year, and you could save even more if you choose to protest your taxes every year. Let's move on to $1 million. We are seeing more and more $1 million homes here in San Antonio. It's actually become quite a high price point in the area. We used to only see about 2% of homes sold in San Antonio were above $1 million. And now it's up to 16.4%. So as you can see, we've got more beautiful homes being built and home values are increasing, which is another great thing about moving to Texas. Your investment is a safe bet. Values have increased year over year. Yes, they are slower in the increase per year now. COVID was an anomaly. I think everybody can agree with that when it comes to home value prices and the craze that it created with people purchasing new homes with the interest rates low. It was just a recipe for crazy supply and demand. So it did shoot our home value prices up pretty high, pretty quickly. For those 3 years, homeowners were seeing between 20 and 25% value increases year over year, which is insane. We haven't seen anything like that in Texas in, I don't even know, decades and decades. So we are now progressing at a more reasonable rate, which is 4 to 6% year over year. That's a healthy rate. And it's great for homeowners because you are continuing to grow equity every single year. Back to this example, 1.1% in California at $1 million, your property taxes are around $11,000. Not gonna lie, that's a very beautiful number. I would love to pay $11,000 in property taxes. But at income level, you usually, if you're living in $1 million, your average income level is around $250,000 a year, bringing your income tax for California to $23,250, bringing your total of $34,400. That's a big chunk of change that you are paying the state every year. In Texas, at 2.5%, $25,000 in property taxes. Again, no state income tax. Your total is $25,000. Now, on the exemption side, what we do see is that $100,000 off. The percentage is definitely smaller as the home value goes higher, just kind of the way it is in the world. So you are saving $11,900 every single year, and it does increase every single year because you can fight those taxes and get your exemption down. So one thing I also want to hit on that's super important is the other exemptions that are available to you. Your homestead exemption is if you are residing in the property. If you are over the age of 65, you get an over the age of 65 exemption as well. So you can go to BCAD, which is Bexar County Appraisal District, bcad.org. You can go to forms and then go to exemptions, and it's going to break down all the different property exemptions that the state of Texas offers you. Now, the main ones that we are going to use as residential real estate is going to be your homestead exemption. If you are a veteran and you are disabled, Texas is where you want to be. We also give you exemptions on your taxes for your disability. If you are 100% disabled vet and Texas is your state of record, your home of record, you pay no property taxes, zero at 100%, absolutely zero, goose egg, nothing. That's huge, super, super huge, and such a blessing for so many disabled veterans. You've earned it. So that's also another great exemption. You have the over 65 exemption, and then you have your homestead. All of these exemptions are great at lowering those property taxes. Now, the other thing that I want to hit on is protesting your taxes. So every single year, you're going to find out how much the county is assessing your house out. Every single year, you have the option to protest your taxes. It's up to you. You can file the protest or not. It's actually a very easy process. I love to help people, but you can come here and it's going to show you exactly how to protest on here. Now, the other thing I want to say is I love protesting taxes. I'm a little weird. It's super fun for me. I do it for all of my properties. I don't hire a company. I do it for myself, and I also do it for my clients. So the ones who want to protest, all they do is shoot me an email and I run the comps for you. And if I sold you your home, it makes it even easier on me because I know exactly what I'm dealing with, right? So I can pull the comps and I can help you fight those taxes. I also have a PowerPoint that I have created that not only walks you through how to protest your taxes, but it also walks you through what that means in the state of Texas and how the process works. Then I also give a second PowerPoint that shows you my personal property and how I protested it via PowerPoint. So I can walk you through step by step. Once you create that PowerPoint, you use it every year. The only time I change that PowerPoint is if I get a new quote for something. So like the quote to have a house painted, of course, with inflation goes up. So every year I'll have my handyman or a painter come and give me a quote. If I needed to get my house on the market, I would most likely need to do a whole interior paint to have it show well, right? I mean, that's what I tell my clients all the time. We don't need crazy dark colors like this wall. This is an accent wall, it's pretty. But if you have like a Spider-Man room, you might need to have it painted to make it easier for somebody to walk in and envision themselves living in that home, right? So I would need my house painted in order to sell it. So I get a quote for my whole house to be painted. I put it in my PowerPoint for my protest to show you guys are assessing my home as if it's ready to sell and comparing it to these comparables of homes that have already sold, but they have fresh paint. They have updated bathrooms. They have updated flooring. Those things my homes don't have. So I point that out in the PowerPoint so that I can bring that assessed value down and I pay less in taxes. I thoroughly enjoy doing this. I'm sure the county hates me every time they see my name pop up, but it's really, that's the wonderful thing about Texas is I can fight my taxes every year and I know the process and I'm good at it and I help my clients with that. So if you're thinking about moving to San Antonio or Texas in general, but hopefully San Antonio because it's a beautiful city, you'll definitely want to look at the grand scheme of things. Even in our Don't Move to San Antonio video, I got a lot of comments talking about how we didn't bring up taxes. We talk about taxes a lot in all of our pros and cons videos and suburb videos because it is a huge part of purchasing a home in Texas. But you do need to look at the full picture. If you're coming from a state that has state income tax, you really need to look at your overall tax burden and what are you paying total to the state versus Texas's property taxes only. It's just a really good thing to just get all of your numbers in order and make sure that it's the right move for you. If it's not, totally get it. If you don't want to leave California, you probably shouldn't be watching this video. But if you do, it's really important to know your numbers. So I hope this was helpful. I hope it helped break down to see exactly what our property taxes cost and how it would affect you in the different price points depending on where you're at. Thank you so much. Feel free to reach out to Steve and I. All of our information is listed right in the description box below. Don't forget to subscribe if you found this video helpful. And don't forget to check the bell for notifications to ensure that you can be one of the first to be notified when we drop a new video, which is twice a week. Thank you so much, guys, and we'll see you on the next one.